Your phone is face down on the table. You already know what's on the screen. You don't need to look. The number has been the same shape in your head for 3 weeks now, 6 digits, and none of them are good news. This is where the story ends up. It's not where it starts. Level 1, $0. You are 19. You get the letter in the mail, pre-approved. Your name printed in silver ink like you earned something. $500 limit. You didn't ask for it, but you didn't say no either. You sign it at the kitchen table between a bowl of cereal and a laptop you're using to apply for a part-time job you won't get. The card arrives 4 days later. You hold it before you activate it. It's lighter than you expected. You thought debt would feel heavier in your hand. It doesn't. It feels like nothing, because it is nothing yet. You buy a tank of gas with it, $41. You pay it off before the statement closes because someone told you that's how you build credit. You feel responsible. You feel like an adult managing something adults manage. The balance goes to 0. You watch it happen and feel a small, quiet pride that nobody will ever know about. This is the part nobody warns you about. The first time debt behaves, you trust it. The first rule, at $0, debt isn't dangerous. It's invisible, and invisible things don't ask permission before they grow. Level 2, $5,000. Not one thing, 100 small things. The interview outfit you needed for a job you didn't get. 2 months of rent covered when the paycheck came late. Dinner out because your friend was going through something and you weren't going to make her split the bill on a night like that. None of it felt like debt while it was happening. It felt like living. You check the app in December and the number says $5,140. You don't remember approving that number. Nobody approved it. It just arrived, one Tuesday at a time. The minimum payment is $146 a month. You pay it. You feel fine. The interest is 22.9%. You don't know what that means yet. Not really, not in your body. You know it as a percentage on a screen, not as a number that compounds while you sleep, working against you the same quiet way an index fund works for someone else. You get a raise. $2,600 a year. You don't pay down the card. You upgrade your phone plan and eat out twice a week instead of once. The balance doesn't move. It just sits there, patient, charging you rent for money you already spent. The second rule, at $5,000, debt doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like a lifestyle you can almost afford. Level 3, $20,000. The car did it. Not one car, the gap between 2 cars. You traded in the old one for $3,000 less than you owed on it and rolled the difference into a new loan because the dealer made it sound like math, not debt. $412 a month for the car. $190 a month across 2 credit cards. A student loan you've been paying for 4 years that has gone down by less than $2,000 in that time because most of what you send it disappears into interest before it touches the principal. You do the math one night, actually do it, calculator open, and the number makes your stomach drop in a way it hasn't before. $20,300. You don't tell anyone. You especially don't tell your parents, who think you're doing fine because you always say you're doing fine. You start avoiding the banking app the way you'd avoid a person you owe an apology to. You check it once a week instead of once a day, not because you forgot, because looking costs something now. Every time you open it, you feel a version of yourself you don't like meeting. The third rule, at $20,000, you stop checking the number. Not because you stopped caring, but because caring stopped helping. Level 4, $50,000. The calls start. Not scary ones at first. A recorded voice, a case number, a callback line. You let them go to voicemail. Then a real person calls from a number with your area code, which you now know is a tactic, not a coincidence. You answer twice. Both times you promise a payment you can't fully make, and both times you make it anyway, moving money from one deficit to cover another, patching one hole by opening a second one. Your credit score drops below 600. You didn't watch it happen in real time, but you felt the effects before you saw the number. A rental application denied, a security deposit doubled, a phone plan that suddenly required a $200 down payment you didn't have. You get a second credit card to cover the minimum payments on the first 2. You know this is the thing you were told never to do. You do it anyway, because the alternative is a missed payment that shows up on your report for 7 years, and 7 years feels like a longer sentence than the one you're already serving. You stop opening statements. They pile up unread, not because you're careless, because reading them makes the number real in a way that not reading them doesn't. The fourth rule, at $50,000, debt stops being math. It becomes a second job you never applied for and can't quit. Level 5, $100,000. 6 figures, except backwards. Nobody throws a party for this one. You cross it quietly on a Wednesday, adding up a medical bill you didn't see coming with everything that was already there. $100,000 sounds like a number that should change your life the way it does for the people leveling up on the other kind of video. The one where the number goes into an account instead of out of one. Instead, it just sits on top of you, heavier every month, compounding the way nothing else in your life compounds in your favor. You've stopped answering unknown numbers entirely. You've started keeping two mental versions of your bank balance, the real one and the one you tell people at dinner when someone asks how you're doing. "You're doing fine," you say, and the sentence comes out smoother every time you say it, which frightens you more than the debt does. Your relationship strains under weight it never signed up to carry. Your partner finds a collections letter you forgot to hide, and the conversation that follows is the first honest one you've had about money in 2 years. It doesn't go well. It also, somehow, doesn't end things, which surprises you more than anything else that month. The fifth rule, at $100,000, the debt stops being yours alone. It becomes something everyone close to you carries whether they agreed to or not. Level 6, $250,000. This is where it stops being credit cards and starts being architecture, a mortgage you can technically afford on paper, calculated by someone whose job was to say yes, not to ask whether yes was wise. A home equity line you pulled to consolidate the smaller debts, which felt like progress for exactly 4 months before the smaller debts came back because the habits that created them never left. Private student loans with a cosigner, your mother, who doesn't know the balance has grown, not shrunk, in the 6 years since graduation. You've become fluent in a language you never wanted to learn. Forbearance, deferment, minimum due. You know the customer service scripts before the representative finishes the sentence because you've heard the sentence so many times it stopped sounding like a warning and started sounding like weather. Something that happens to you, not because of you. You get a second job on weekends, not to build anything, just to keep the number from getting worse. It doesn't get worse. It also doesn't get better. It just holds, the way a body holds a fever, technically stable, definitely not well. The sixth rule, at $250,000, you're not trying to get ahead anymore. You're trying to stop the bleeding, and stopping the bleeding starts to feel like winning. Level 7, $500,000. This is the number from the beginning. This is the phone face down on the table. A business loan that seemed reasonable when the business seemed reasonable, personally guaranteed because the bank wouldn't lend to the business alone, which meant when the business failed, it didn't take the business down with it. It took you. The mortgage, the private loans, the credit cards that never actually went away, they just changed shape, moved between balance transfers and consolidation offers that promised relief and delivered a longer runway toward the same wall. You've talked to a bankruptcy attorney, twice. You haven't filed yet. Filing means admitting something out loud that you've been avoiding admitting even to yourself, which is that the version of you who signed all of this one decision at a time is not a villain. He was just never taught the one lesson that would have mattered, that debt doesn't announce itself when it arrives. It only announces itself when it's too late to leave quietly. You sit at the kitchen table, the same kind of table where this started 15 years ago, cereal replaced by a stack of unopened mail, laptop replaced by a spreadsheet you finally forced yourself to build. The number at the bottom is $517,400. You stare at it the way you stared at that first zero balance, except everything about the feeling is inverted. The seventh rule, at $500,000, you finally understand what the interest was actually charging you for. Not the money. The years it would take to become the person who could pay it back. Level 8, the reckoning. You file. It takes 4 months, a lawyer who costs $3,200 you don't have and pay in installments, and a judge who spends 11 minutes on a case that took you a decade and a half to build. Some of it discharges, some of it, the mortgage, the private loans with your mother's name on them, doesn't. You keep working the second job, except now it has a purpose again instead of just holding a fever steady. You build a version of the spreadsheet you should have built at $5,000, and this time you look at it every week instead of avoiding it. The credit score that took years to destroy starts, slowly, unglamorously, to rebuild. Not through a single decision. Through 100 small, boring ones. The same size as the 100 small decisions that built the debt in the first place, just running in the other direction now. You don't feel triumphant. You feel tired in a way that has some peace inside it. The particular exhaustion of a fever finally breaking. Somewhere right now, someone is 19 years old, holding a pre-approved card at a kitchen table, feeling nothing because there's nothing to feel yet. The card is lighter than they expected. They activate it. They pay off $41 in gas before the statement closes and feel, for one quiet moment, like a responsible adult managing something adults manage. They have no idea which version of this story they're starting. Neither did you.